Ladies and gentlemen, they know who this is. Jason Donovan. Here we are again. Oh, dear. You see, it's too easy to forget the 80s when you were a pop idol. Was it not unreal for you, in retrospect?
I guess looking back on it, you have time to reflect. I mean, when you're involved in it, you're so caught up in the moment. But it was a very special time for me. I mean, Neighbours was a phenomenal success, and I guess the byproduct of that was the music. I've learned a hell of a lot more since then. But, you know, I look back at that VT and feel sort of pretty proud of myself, actually. You know,
but who could have
I
imagined...
sort of held it together then.
Who could have imagined all those years ago, in a little studio in Melbourne, Australia, you're making this soap opera, and suddenly you're projected to international stardom? Yeah,
I guess, again, you never really look at it as much as you do in reflection and just see how poignant those moments were. Australians like to think big, and coming to London was a sort of a natural sort of progression for me. And let's be honest, England's not that dissimilar to Australia, except the weather's not as particularly nice.
But on the other hand, we do not have spiders that come up the dunny at you. You were subjected to all sorts of weird publicity, but it sort of drifted over your head, did it, because there was so much of it? Yeah,
I'm sort of, you know, I feel very lucky in my life. I don't really pay a hell of a lot of attention to what other people think of me. I guess there's various stages in your life where you're growing up and you feel vulnerable. But, you know, every person in my position is going to get negatives and pluses. I mean, you know, particularly at the moment, I'm very lucky. I have two beautiful children and a great partner, and my life is particularly healthy and rich. Not in a physical sense, but in a sort of a mental sense. Even though, you know, there's been times that have been sort of difficult, but not that difficult compared to what else is happening out there in the world. I'm quite a serious person.
Well, I was just about...
It's funny, I was sort of, yeah, I think probably as I get older, I get a little bit more serious, you know.
I was about to say that as I look into your eyes. There's a sadness about you.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you think?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
But not when you smile, obviously.
No. I'm just more composed about what I have to say these days. Also, I'm doing this show called Sweeney Todd. Now, I mean, as far as a career sort of thing, it's a big choice for me, and it's a rather demanding sort of role, and it does require one to sort of put your shoulders down and think.
You have some stills. It requires you to slit people's throats as well.
Yeah. It's a very deep sort of part. It's a very intense role, and it's sort of taken over my life a little bit, you know. So
I'm not going to ever allow you shaving.
It's looking particularly...
You're looking good in that shot.
Yeah. It's a far cry from Scott Robinson and Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat. But it's a good time in my life to be doing sort of this stuff.
Serious stuff.
Yeah.
Now, when I was going through my transvestite period...
As you do.
I talked to you in 1989, and your fame was at its height. Let's have a look.
Okay.
You were quoted as saying somewhere that you wanted to live here in London, that you quite liked it around here, is that right?
Yeah, I do. I mean, my parents and my family are from Britain. I mean, I've been very lucky. I've got a UK passport, so I can sort of... It's quite handy when it comes to customs time. You can sort of just walk through and walk in and out.
He's one of us, you see.
I don't know whether that pleases anybody or not. I'm embarrassed now. So it's... I haven't made any definite plans to settle here, no, but I think, to quote the old cliche, I still call Australia home, so...
It's funny. It's weird. I don't look back. You know, you tend not to. And I guess now having children, they're going to sort of go through the garage and, you know, pick up old pieces of me, and it's funny. It's funny.
I think it's always very brave of anybody wanting to come on this show,
Sure.
because it's tough to see yourself as others saw you 20 years ago.
Yeah, I'm proud of where I was and what I've done. I don't regret, and you know, I certainly was fresh-faced. I mean, God.
Yes, but so was I.
The teeth were white.
I was looking good myself.
You were looking pretty good. You were a transvestite in those
Yes, I
days,
was.
weren't you?
What do you think of my legs? Not bad, eh?
Beautiful. I love your work.
Thank you. Yeah. But didn't it all become a little bit too much for you after a while, although...
Yeah, well, I guess you're inferring sort of the darker period of the 90s. But, you know, I think after you've sort of done or did what I had done, which was sort of play a role and play the role really well. I didn't get the opportunity to put too many surfboards on the back of the car and head up the coast as we do in Australia and really let my hair down. Unfortunately, that involved taking drugs, and you know, as much as I don't regret, I'm not someone who advocates the use of drugs in any way, shape and form. People have to be what they have to be, and I had to explore myself. And I found after I did Joseph in 1991 that I was exhausted, and you know, unfortunately, I sort of took myself down a path where I foolishly tried to look to be cool. And I think a lot of teenagers and a lot of people in their 20s want to find that. It wasn't until my children's birth in the late 90s that I realised it doesn't exist. And in fact, actually, this whole quest of trying to find, you know...
Find yourself.
Find myself,
yeah.
Which was okay, you know, and I feel a far more richer person as a result of it. But there was a bit of damage along the way.
And with me is a man who used to turn the ladies' heads and their knees to jelly. Jason Donovan. Do you miss that power you had over women? Maybe you still have it. What am I saying?
Maybe. That was not ever what I really set out to do. You know, I got a buzz out of acting, really. You know, that's sort of where the story began.
Yeah, in the 1980s, you were starring with Kylie Minogue in Neighbours. 16 million people watched it. You never get 16 million people watching anything these days.
It's too many satellite stations.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
No, I like them.
That's the problem. That's the
I won't
reality.
hear a word against them. And everybody, of course, you and Kylie, everybody wanted to know were you an item, including me. You see, you've played it very cleverly, and it's kept, obviously, public interest alive in your relationship. I mean, are you two walking out together?
We will be after the show. We've got to go out to the car and get to the hotel. Well, yeah.
Could you be described as chums?
We're
Buddies.
Buddies.
Hey,
Hey. We're friends. We've Kylie and myself have known each other for
You're just
a long
pals, are you?
time. Yeah.
Depends what newspaper you read.
It could be different in one paper and it could be different in another paper. Depends on what paper you read during the day.
Yeah, there's not a hint of romance here. You see, nobody's going to believe all this. I mean, this is... What do you think? It's just a suspicion, but I think it might have been around Christmas when we did that. Well, what do you think? There's no need for that. So was it easier then to deny it? Because you were, in fact, having a little romance.
Well, yeah, I think it was never... I think to us, to protect our privacy, it was far easier to keep people at bay by saying maybe, maybe not. And, you know, we both knew that the business might take us in different directions. So therefore, you know, why should we go through the pain of seeing that separation come out in a tabloid fodder? And, you know, also, it sort of worked. In a funny way, you know.
You mean the people weren't quite sure?
The intrigue, yeah. I think it sort of added to the whole charisma of what we were doing at the time. It was never meant as a vicious sort of, you know. I think also the press play games with you, you know. So in a funny sort of way, we were sort of tantalising them at the same time, you know, keeping a little bit for ourselves.
So when it sort of dried up for you, you turned to the musical theatre. A conscious decision to get back on stage.
Not really. I think it was a place to go.
Safer than the pop world.
Well, the pop world, to be totally honest with you, at that point wasn't really that interested in me, I don't think. And I feel I like to keep working. I had two options: to try and go away and write this sort of, you know, cool, interesting album that might never see the daylight, or actually go out and work, you know. And I decided to take the latter option, which was sort of work. And I think it's only now that I'm starting to realise sort of my dreams in that area, with something like Sweeney and a play I'm doing later this year, Festin, of sort of an element of maturity in my work that's starting to come to fruition.
If you could have changed anything in your career, what would you change?
Not a single thing.
Really?
No, not a thing.
Even the foolishness with the drugs?
Why not? Why, I mean, that's part of my life. That's part of my learning process. And any life that isn't flawed, I mean, you know, there's, you know, this is me. You know, this is a culmination of the good and the bad. And this is someone who's, you know, on the rise, not the fall. So, you know, it's only a result of maybe the downtime that you see a stronger person, I suppose.
Oh, we shall watch your rise with interest. Good
Thank
luck
you.
with Sweeney Todd.
Good.
Jason Donovan. Thank you, Jason.